Hi guys, this is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. And for those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much. I had a blast with last night's Charmings. Thank you for subscribers that showed up and collected their October Charmings. If you would like to support me over on Patreon with a monthly subscription, you can go over to patreon.com and check out Engelgeist and choose a subscription level there. There are certain perks. You definitely, at any level, you get the daily forecast a day early, so you can kind of prepare. And there's other levels too with certain, perks like free charmings or special readings that are only available over on the Patreon page. All right, this is a collective message for the greater collective for the highest good. For Tuesday, the 27th of October, we are building on the energy that we've been looking at, or the cards that we've been looking at throughout the week. This is not only set for that, this is a timeless message. So if you're seeing it on a day that's not October 27th, it's just randomly popping up in your phone or on your feed. Watch the message and see if it makes sense, if it applies to your life, or it has guidance or validation. I believe that Spirit has ways of getting messages to us in all different forms, like through nature, through random videos that we see. So this is not only set for that date. You can utilize this whenever you like. If this doesn't make sense for any reason, or it doesn't feel in line with where you're at, that's completely fine too. It doesn't mean anything's wrong. It just might mean that you might be working on something different at this time. If you do watch this and decide to make decisions from this video in your real day-to-day life, that is your responsibility. So trust your own intuition over anything I say. All right, so let's get into this and see what's going on for this day. Okay, Toad. I feel like, first off, the first thing I think when I look at this is Toad is fixated on the future. Like, looking to the future, trying to figure out how they're going to get there is sort of the feeling that I get. He looks a little bit almost puzzled. Like he wants to take the leap, but isn't sure if now is the right time or if it's the right leap to take. Is it the right direction? Generally, toads bring about like sort of this magical quality too. You can kiss a toad and it can turn into a prince. A situation that might appear to be sort of not great can turn into something actually right in line with us, and we didn't even see it coming. So there's that aspect to this too. There could be that possibility. If there's something that we're maybe fearing about moving forward, we might just need to sort of bite the bullet, kiss that toad, and watch the sort of prince. And I'm saying this like in an analogy, so we need to utilize this wherever it fits in our life, right? But like, say there's something that we're sort of fearful about making a move on, or not exactly sure which next step to take. Say it's in a relationship or with a job or, whatever. This toad to me feels like there's an opportunity here to sort of like step away from our fears, step away from any trepidation, any sort of anxiety or worry that we may have, and just kind of trust maybe the magic that we have inside or the ability that we have inside to sort of adapt and take the leap, right? And that's kind of what I get from the toad. There's that idea of sort of lily padding, right? Where you jump from one lily pad to the next, kind of not necessarily knowing once you land, what's gonna, be the buoyancy or how exactly you may land. But it's sort of that split second decision making that you may need to trust at this time as you decide to move forward. Does that make sense? And so I think that Toad's focus is good, right? This idea of looking to the future. But I feel like, I don't know why, but I feel a little bit of worry with this Toad today. Why is this Toad worrying? Like, I almost feel like maybe Toad is worried that if we take the leap where there's no turning back, like if we take the leap, then we've closed the door on, a life that used to exist, or, Does that make sense? I don't know if that applies to your guys' life, but if there's something that we're looking at that we're maybe desirous of or that we're considering taking, moving towards, be it a relationship, a career shift, whatever the thing is that we might have on our horizon, right? I get a feeling that maybe Toad is sort of like, well, if I take this leap, can I get back to this space where I'm in now? And that might be true in the sense that I kind of get a feeling that we won't be able to come back. Does that make sense? I don't know why I'm feeling that. Like, that's sort of the reluctance or the worry that I'm feeling with Toad, is that once the leap is taken, it's like sort of a done deal. And that might be some of that black and white energy that I was feeling yesterday in the wall card, where I was feeling like it was all or nothing. It was very much black and white, sort of yes and no. And we've got that wings card underneath this Toad. Like, to me, I feel like it's time to take the leap, or we know that it's time to take the leap. There's something that we're inspired to do. There's something that we want in our life, but we might not be sure if now is the right time, or we maybe don't have the right assets for it. We think we don't have the right assets for it. That's what I should say, because I do feel like even though this Toad may be worried or doubtful, I feel like this Toad has all of the sort of skill set to move himself through many different situations without any issue. Does that make sense? I hope you guys... I hope I don't sound too goofy. Alright, let's see what the Queen of the Moon says. Like, are we ready to take the leap? Okay, ooh, this is new. Hot Moon. Extremes. Look at that sweaty back. I've never even heard of a hot moon. Glass of water. 34. Number 7. 7's always about choices, making like sort of conscious choices to, you know, that sort of affect, I think, change. And when I look at this, it's funny, we put that hot moon there, and then all of a sudden it looks like now I see what Toad's fearful of jumping towards. Maybe the desire of what it is that we want is so strong that we maybe are fearful that we can't achieve it, or that we can't have it, maybe that we don't deserve it, that it might, like I kind of get the sense of feeling from Toad that like, if we go after it and we don't achieve it, maybe we can't return to what we've had, or in some way, shape, or form, right? Like in essence, it's almost like we're trying to swing for the fences, but we're fearful if we don't get it right or don't achieve it, we could get burned by the hot moon. Also, I have to say this too, Toads are most comfortable in wet environments, right? That's how I think they need to stay sort of moist, like that's their gig. They hang out in like swamps and bogs and things like that. And this hot moon, to me, looks like water is of the essence. So, and moon affects like sort of the tides and all of that. So it's very connected to the sort of water element of where Toad feels safe and secure. So there might be something about putting our feet to the fire too. That hot moon is giving me that sort of phrase too. A little bit about maybe making a choice. That's the energy of that 7, card number 34. Making that choice to take the leap, to put our feet to the fire, to challenge ourselves, to go after what we want, what we desire, whether we can achieve it or not. Don't allow that fear to sort of stop us, is kind of the feeling that I get. I mean, we will sort of take that leap, but we have to maybe be secure in the feeling that when we land, we will be okay, or we will be safe. I don't know if the hot moon is going to provide us with that feeling. I also feel like, and I don't know if this is just specifically for maybe one of my viewers, but I feel like if we land wrong, we might end up upsetting someone. So like the choice that one of you might be making could potentially create upset or anger coming from somebody, and that's also the energy of this hot moon, I feel like. Let me see. Let's look at the grounding stone. Like one of you might be worried that if you jump, you might upset somebody, a boss, a friend, I'm not sure. So what we need to ground in, the grounding stone, I really like this grounding stone actually, because it will give us the faith to do what we need to do, is success. Um, Remember, like the grounding stone that underpins this for the entire week is seeking out that joy, right? And sometimes when we seek out that joy, and yesterday was that desire, which also kind of plays into this hot moon card too, because with that sweaty back, it's kind of sexy with the arm all draped on the neck and all that. Even though it's a little bit scary, there's a little bit of a challenge here. There's a little bit of a burn. There's a little bit of a possibility of, maybe things going off track or off kilter and challenging us in a way. And we have to make that choice and believe in ourselves and take the leap, right? If we ground in this idea of success, right, as success being our goal, that joy also being the goal, right? We desire this, we want it to be successful. Whether we feel successful in the moment, right? We might be challenged with the leaps that we have to take to get there, but we have to stay focused on that sort of idea of pursuing, you know, um, that joy, right? And hoping or kind of manifesting, right? Focusing, putting our attention and our intention into this idea of it being successful no matter what because we at least tried, right? I feel like when we do that, we free ourselves to just sort of leap and we will land and it will play out. And each time we leap, we'll assess, right? The situation and then leap to the next towards this goal, right? Grounding in this idea of anything that's ever scared us in the past that we've ever been worried about and that we faced, we've probably pretty successfully gone through or accomplished or been challenged by, but sort of have beaten in some way, shape, or form, right? If we look at some of the challenges that we faced in the past, we need to remember that they've all sort of always sort of taught us something or in retrospect have made us who we are today, right? So nothing is ever really a true failure, right? In a sense, especially if we can find sort of forgiveness for ourselves or sort of like allow ourselves the grace where, um, you know, maybe we haven't done our best, but if we give ourselves that forgiveness or the grace, it's not in vain, right? It's not a waste. We've learned something from that. We've learned how to sort of respect ourselves or self-respect, uh, you know, compassion towards ourselves. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm kind of maybe haven't had enough coffee, but I sort of feel like there's always an opportunity to learn and there's always an opportunity for success, no matter what the odds may be or however the situation portrays itself or appears. Even if something that we've maybe held as a failure, if we really truly look at it from a more open perspective and impartial view without the ego involved, generally most of it's always been at some level of success and it served a purpose. And so remembering that as we move through this day and grounding in the idea and the seeking of that success will allow us to be brave and to make these leaps and to not be worried about what's going to happen. All right, so let's look at Toad and then we're going to look at Hot Moon. So Toad is humor, the grotesque, and joy. And again, we have that underpinning stone of joy. I don't necessarily get joy from this toad or toads in general, but there you go. So take that. I think that the idea of joy and the toad being together with our grounding stone of joy, take that leap towards that joy, even if we don't know what it's going to feel like when we land. And then let's look at 34, the hot moon, extremes. Learn how to handle crises with calm and resilience. Seeking balance is superior to seeking extremes. There are better ways to handle conflict than rage and outrage. There may be someone who seeks to disrupt your business or life in some way. This too shall pass. I handle extremes with grace, yet I seek balance in all things. Most of us have experienced extremes of weather, boiling hot days, or the freezing of snow and ice. You certainly know you are alive because the sensation can be so overwhelming or stressful on the body. The hot moon appeared in the hottest time of the year, where the days were longest and the rains less frequent. Similarly, we can experience extremes in life: death, job losses, relationship breakdowns, true fears, big conflicts, booms and busts, and yet this is life. Our situation can change quickly for better or for worse. The hot moon challenges us to build our resilience and reserves of wisdom and calm for those times where things are at their extreme. It reminds us that developing grace under pressure is worth its weight in gold and that even these extremes in times will pass. in time will pass. Companion stone or metal is sunstone. So don't let sort of the fear or the challenge that you may see coming or the upset that might come from others hinder you from doing what you need to do. Do it in your own time. I do trust the sort of the judgment of Toad, a little bit of his reluctance. I feel like we will know the right time to leap, especially if we ground in this idea of it being a success, right? Even if we feel challenged by whatever it is we're looking at or trying to leap towards or create for ourselves. And try not to allow experiences of the past where we've been burned affect us too much in making the choices that we need to make to obtain that success. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense for you guys today. And I hope that when you are ready, you will take that leap. It's interesting too, remember wings is underneath this. So when that toad leaps, he might get further than he expects because of those wings. That is your forecast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please give the video a thumbs up and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Share the video out, leave a question or comment. I'll see you later. Bye.